Hey everybody, this is going to be, I believe, video 6 of our local multiplayer tutorials, and today what I want to be able to do is show you all how to make these progress bars right here. I want them to be used more like health bars. So as we run around and we collect certain things like these little power-ups and these little damage things, instead of just having print strings show up on the screen, we're going to have the progress bar respond. Okay, so what I want to do first is to do this, we're going to need, you probably want to go ahead and open up your BP third person character. Probably want to open up your game mode, and lastly your player card. Okay, we'll be working in these three, and we might pop into the damage and the health pickups as well, but for everything we need to do, I'm going to go ahead and make sure we use these three. So one thing I wanted to show you is a couple things in the third person character that we should probably fix. So one of those is we don't actually have to go through all of this right here where we're parsing that array. I thought it would be kind of fun to do and see who could pull it out there, but really you don't have to go through all that. Hey, look at that, pulling a fast one on everybody. It's just my way of making your life more fun. So what you can do instead, if you want to, and you can leave all this here if you'd like, as soon as we have the self and the player state, then from the player controller we can drag off of that and we can get local player ID or controller ID. Okay, and then what we can do from there is that can just go straight into the player index right here. So instead of going through this and the get and then we're stripping things out and all that, we can just do that. Okay, so that will do the exact same thing as these other nodes in the same order. So you know, kind of nice to be able to streamline a little bit. Okay, another issue is that some of y'all have found that the keyboard isn't always the most friendly thing in the world. So right now I'm actually pressing up, and then that wiggle you're seeing with the character is me moving the mouse around. Okay, so it's spinning right there is because of the mouse. So sometimes you're like, hey man, this thing is not running in the direction I want it to. So the reason for that, let me go back up here to the BP third person character, is because our camera input is still hooked up for most of us. So I'm going to go ahead and Alt and click on that. I'm just going to detach that. You can leave it here. It's not a big deal. At this point, it's like an appendix. We're not really sure if it's going to help us a whole lot, so we can take it out and probably not change your quality of life. So now when we're running around, now I'm moving the mouse, and this guy's actually responding in the way you'd probably want it to. So now we're in good shape with those couple small changes. All right, let's go back to our BP third person. I'll go ahead and save everything. And the next thing I want to do is I need to go up here to where we have our health being checked. Okay, so we already have max health and health, and we've got most of what we need in the third person character already being used here. We have it going through this clamp to make sure that it doesn't go below 0 and it doesn't go over max health. And then what we're going to need to do is I'm actually going to show you two different ways in two different videos how to manipulate the health. There is a system that's already built into Unreal Engine that applies damage, but you can't control it as well as you can with a lot of this. So I'm going to give this to you first, and then in another video I'll show you how to use the damage setup for Unreal Engine. So what we're doing right now is just kind of following through this. Right now we have this running into a print string, right? But we really want this to start updating our HUD. So what we're going to do is we're going to run through the game mode to tell the player card to do something, okay? Because our game mode automatically spawns. It's kind of keeping track of everything. It's applying indexes to all of our players as they work through this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a custom event in the game mode. Okay, so I want to right click right here, and I'm going to do a custom event. And this custom event, I think what I'll call it is player change health. So I'm just going to zoom in here, highlight that top, player change health, and really I can have spaces in there. It's not a big deal for the custom event. For this one, we're going to need to get some information passed over whenever we use this. So we're going to be from our third person character, we're basically going to have an event that we're going to call from our third person character, which is going to be this event over here in our game mode. So what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to add a few more things onto this particular event. So we're going to go over here to the right, and we have some inputs that we can work with. Okay, so what we're going to do is add our first input, and that one is going to be current health. Okay, and that we want that to be a float because all of our stuff is being held in a decimal place kind of setup. We're looking at percentages, and then we're going to need another input. This one is going to be player index because we need to know which player card we're going to update. So for that, we're just going to be using an integer because the index doesn't have floats. It just uses integers for that. And let's go ahead and compile that so we have it. And you'll notice that the pins have already shown up on this custom event right here. So what we're going to do from this is I'm actually going to set up the first two, and then I'm going to have you set up the last two. So I'm going to set up player 1 and player 2, and then part of your assignment is going to be setting up player 3 and 4. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to pull off this execution pin right here. I'm going to say branch, and based on the player index, we're going to decide which thing we're going to update, which player card we're going to update. So what we want to do is drag off of our player index. We're going to do equals equals because we're doing a comparison. And if it's player index 0, which is player 1, we're going to have it make a change on our player card. So from here, we're going to have it go off into an event on our player card. So the reason we're doing this and not just accessing the player card directly is that our game mode is always accessible all the time, but the player card may not always know where it needs to put things. So the game mode will have the index, it'll have everything that it needs to be able to tell the player card what it needs to do. So what we're going to do is pop over to our player card real quick, and we're going to kind of work this backwards. Okay, so I'm going to pop over here to the player card, and I've got a custom event over here that I made, which is similar to the one we have over here in the game mode. Player change health, and then we have player change health here. So we just kind of keep everything straight, and this is going to be set up almost exactly the same way as the event in our game mode. So we have player change health here. Over here is where the details are. It doesn't really matter that they're over here. I could move this over to the other side if I really wanted to, and so it'll look a little bit more like what you'd expect on the game mode whenever we click on our custom events. So I just moved that over. Originally, you're probably going to find it over here. So it'll be stacked with my blueprint, and I kind of want it to go back the way it was, but you know, it's fine. I'll just put it down here. Okay. See, it doesn't want to go quite back where it was before. That's okay. Right here, though, we have the opportunity to add in the inputs. So first thing is we have our player current health. So we're just going to say current health. And that is a float, and then we're going to have the player index, and that is an integer, so I need to make sure I keep that straight. Let's go ahead and compile it. And then what we want to do is we can actually start from the player card. So I'm going to go ahead and pull off of here, and probably the first thing we're going to need to do is from the player index, we're going to need to get the player controller. So get player controller. Remember, that's what's spawning our character. That's what's holding on to a lot of information about our player. So for this, we probably want to make this a variable. We're going to promote this to a variable. And on that one, it's over here. I want to probably make that, I'm going to call that assigned controller, because that's the controller that goes with that player. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and tie these together. And the current health is flowing from our third person character. Here we go. We have that right here. And then it goes to the game mode. So the game mode can tell the player card what we have for current health for that player. So assign controller from there. We're going to do set percent with our bar health. Let's go back over to here. Here's health bar. I named mine health bar. Yours might have been named something slightly different, but that is just the health bar. If you go to the designer again, that's the health bar right there, that progress bar. Okay, and I'm going to drag off of this and do set percent. Okay, and that's for our progress bar. We're going to get this one up here. We're not necessarily messing with the variable. We're going to be doing that. Okay, so I'm going to connect up the execution pin. And as far as percent goes, we're just going to take current health and we're going to tie it in right there. Okay, so as far as the player card's concerned, that's pretty much done. Okay, I'm just going to highlight all that, press the letter C for a comment, and this is going to be the players, well, you can't even read, that's too far away. The players updated HUD health right there. Okay, and since we're here, I'll just highlight that. I don't need that tick. Let me get that out of the way. Okay, and we'll just give this some little comment too. Updating points in the HUD. There we go. And let's compile that. We're going to work our way backwards. Okay, so we got the player card. We're going to go down back to our game mode here, and from this we'll be able to actually call the player change health. So off of true, we're going to do player change health. There we go. And the target for this one is going to be our player HUD reference, which we have right here. There's our HUD, and I'm just going to drag that in. And this is going to be feeding into a lot of different stuff. So we have the different player cards. Let's see here. So player cards one. Yep, we're going to end up dragging out several different ones for this. So I'm going to drag this in, get HUD, and then from here, what we're going to want to get is WCC player, well, it's W underscore CC player card, and the first player card is the one for our index 0 or our player 1. So I'm going to go ahead and run that into our target, unless it doesn't want me to for some reason. Let's figure this out. Player card object reference not compatible with self object reference. Did we get the right one? Let me see here. Oh, I got the one from the game mode. I didn't get the one from the player card. So yeah, let me go ahead and change that up a little bit. It should be, actually I could probably drag this right here. Let's do change player health. Hey, there it is right there. Okay, so go to true. I accidentally got the wrong one. And then what we want to do is we're going to tie in those other pieces of data that we're going to need. So we need the player index, which is going to go right there. And we need the player's current health, which is what we're feeding in to the progress bar. Okay, so I'm going to kind of tidy this up a little bit here. Now, if it's not what we're looking for, like if it's not player 1, then we're going to pull off of this false right here, and we're going to get another branch. Okay, and on this one, you probably guessed it, we're going to need to check for if it's a 1. So I'm just going to do Control D with that. I could probably pull this back a little bit, and we just keep all these together. So on this one, I'm going to need to pull off of this add it in there. And on this one, we're looking for player index 1, and the condition goes into the branch. And if it's true, we're going to grab that one. If it's true, then we're going to go to player change health. And, you know, let me think here. We may not have to run it into the same one every time. Let me see here. But the issue is that we have to get this player card to go to the certain target. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom back here a little bit. And we'll pull off of this one, and we'll do W underscore player card 1. And that gives us our target. So I don't think, let me just try this. Let's just see. I'll run that in there. And yeah, we could do that. Okay. So I don't have to have a bunch of different ones here. I can just have it run straight into that. So maybe we don't actually need these every time. I'm just going to take this out then. Okay. Yeah, let's try that. I'm just going to run it from here to here. And if it's player card 1, it's going to do that. Oh, yeah, no, we're probably going to need those others back, because otherwise it's going to say, you know, oh, well, you know, we brought this in. It's going to probably update everything. Like it's probably going to get confused, because it's going to try and feed all of these. So all of these are probably going to respond no matter who gets hurt. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do Control Z, back that up, and let's get all that stuff back, because otherwise it's going to affect all of them at once. And it's just going to say, oh yeah, well, player 1 and player 2 and player 3 and 4, they all got hit. Even though maybe it was just player 2 or just player 1, all of them would take the hit. So in this case, we're going to need it still. So we got that running to there. We got the true running here for player change health on this one. So same thing as before. We're going to run this into our target. And then I'm going to do the player index into here. And current health goes into here. So if you were to watch this as we were playing, you'd probably see all of these firing off here and into these other nodes, just to see, like, is this the right one? Is this the right one? And then 3 and 4 are going to go down here a little bit lower. So that's player 1 and 2. And I didn't get all of my stuff here, right? I need to get that equals right there. I didn't back it up all the way. So I'm going to do Control D, bring that back in. This one is going to be equal to 0. And then I'm just going to run that together. Okay. And as far as what we need here, we're pretty much done. Okay. This is all in the game mode. And then let's go back to the third person character. This is the last thing we really have to work on. I might leave the print string in there just so we can see it, but I think what I want to do is I need to add the call to that player change from here. So off the set, what we're going to do is player change health. And I think in the game mode, I actually had it all run together. So I'm going to change that, compile it real quick. Let's go back here and let's try that one more time. Player change health. Okay. And I might need to get that reference to the game mode. And right here, we have everything we need pretty much, right? One thing we might try, I might try one more little shortcut. Let me see. Instead of even bothering with the game mode, let's just see. I'm going to do player change health. And we see the player card right here, right? Okay. I'll go ahead and run that in. And current health would run into this. And we're going to need to get the index. So we have the player index probably in here. No, okay, that's fine. We can get the player index over here. We've already saved it, so got the player index there, and I'm gonna run that into this, and then oh, I got the player state ref. Sorry, player index. That's what I wanted. Okay, and then my target is going to be my player card, which I actually don't have a reference for yet, so that could be a possible issue with us setting it up this way. I'd have to cast to it, and then I'd end up with a reference to it. Yeah, we've already got a reference to the game mode, so kind of makes more sense to do it that way. Let me see. Do we have a reference to the game mode? Oh, we don't. Okay, well, one way or the other. Let's see. Let's go ahead, and from here, we have the player state. Let me go ahead and probably, let's just see if we can do it straight to the player card. So I'm going to come off this set here and I'll do cast, cast to W underscore player card. Okay. And the object for that, get player controller. Will that hook up? Well, let's see if it compiles. No. Yeah, that's where we're going to end up with a bit of an issue. Okay, so maybe I can, just trying to see if I can jump one more thing here. See if it'll compile off of that. Nope, it just doesn't like it. Okay, so instead what we're going to do is we're going to cast to our game mode. So this is one of the reasons we want to go this way. I'm going to just do cast to GM underscore CC. There we go. And then from this we're going to get game mode. Let's see, that one looks good. Okay, let me go ahead and compile. Okay, we have a red somewhere in here. Ah, there it is up there. Okay, so we're trying to tie this to the player card, and we'll have to change that. That's okay. Let me make sure this is taken care of. Okay, cast to GMCC, and what we're going to want to do is, that's the event tick. Let me pull all this out of the way. Get this up here, and I'm going to expand this out a little bit, just kind of pull it off to the side. This is the thing that's making the little numbers on top of the head turn where they're supposed to go. Okay, and then we have this up here, which is getting our reference. So I'm going to just right click there, promote to variable. And this is going to be GMCC as GMCC. Now let's do game mode reference, because we want to make sure it is a reference. Game mode ref. Okay, so we have that, so that when we go up to here, where we're working with this, now we can just pull out of game mode reference, and we can get change player health. There we go. Run that to the set. I mean, we already have worked everything out with the game mode, so why not? All right, player index goes right there, and the current player health goes right there, and it's all just a little bit muddy right there. Okay. I think it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and hit compile. Everything's working okay. Got our reference down here, turned it into a variable, and then we're feeding that information to the game mode, which is separating everything out into the different indexes that we need, so that when it feeds over here, we're able to just feed it right into whatever player card it's supposed to go with. So as far as what we need, I think we have everything covered. Go ahead and back to the third person. I got my controller turned on. All right, so we're going to try first person and see what happens. Bam! Okay. All right, we're losing health all over the place. And then we touch a health here. And our healths aren't going away, so we should be in good shape. Mouse is not controlling my character anymore. Good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I've got that one. Seems to be working just fine. Here's player 2. Okay, good. It's taking damage and not affecting the other character. And then we're getting health back, and it's not affecting the other character. Good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a little damage here. And a little bit more. Okay, looking good. Okay, so this is how we'll be able to take care of any kind of health changes, or if you want to, could be used for something else. Could be stamina, could be some recovery of resources, could be a number of different things. But this will make it so you can set all this up and have your HUD be affected through a lot of different means, either text or progress bar. Okay. All right. Hopefully that helps you out, and we'll see you in class.